Welcome back, Wolfpack. Today's video, we're playing with my pineapple cider. Just sanitizing the last little piece real quick before we get real going. Alright. Let that drip for just a second. It's all food safe sanitizer. Wonderful thing about Star San. Alright. We don't want to get any oxygen in this because I'm pretty sure this is done. It went all the way to negative pressure yesterday. Or this morning. Looking at it, we can see there's nothing weird growing or happening to it. Definitely smells different than the meads. And it went dry. .990. Dry as a bone. Meaning the yeast ate up all that sugar. Pour off this little sip so we see what we're working with here. And then put the rest back. I gotta say the apple is kind of lost on the nose, but it's really young. It just finished fermenting. There it is. Wow. Okay. Definitely going to want to add some sugar to that. So to do that, we're going to rack it into a pitcher. I got some brown sugar we're going to add to this. Sweeten it up, take some of that bitter acid bite off of it, hopefully. And give me just a second. I'm going to go get my racking stuff, and I'll be right back. Alright, everything's been sterilized or sanitized. There's a difference between sterilization and sanitization. Huge difference. Anyway, sanitized in Star San. Got my pitcher, which I'm setting on a bucket beneath the counter I'm working on. And then I have my auto siphon, or racking cane. You just want to slip it on just a little bit, otherwise it'd be impossible to get back off of there. I'm going to put this end, the business end, inside of the cider, and the other end into the pitcher. Give it a few pumps, and away it goes. So we do this so that we don't oxygenate. We can get it off the leaves, we can get it out of the fruit, we can get everything back out of it that we can. Interesting thing I used in this recipe, I used dehydrated candied pineapple for the pineapple flavoring, and it seems to me that the pineapple tidbits dissolved. I could be mistaken, but I think all I see here is apple. Get as close as we can to the leaves, which is the yeast cake at the bottom. We'll tilt the bottle to get every last bit that we can try to get out of here. Almost there. Really doesn't take long to rack a bottle. Bottling takes a little while. Another thing we're going to do with this brew after we sweeten it is pasteurize it. And that takes a little bit because I like to heat as slow as humanly possible. That way I don't change the flavors very much, but the key is to get it up to a certain temperature. We'll discuss all that here in a minute. thing I caught that because we started sucking up a whole bunch of yeast. Alright, that out of the way. Go ahead and detach that, drain that off into the sink, wash that out when we're done. Alright, we got close to 3/4 of a gallon off of there. That's not bad at all. Give me just a second to turn around in my brewing bucket and get the brown sugar. I'll be right back. So, with backsweetening, I'm not actually going to measure how much I put in. I'll give a gravity reading at the end, let you guys know what happened. In case you want to duplicate, well, you can't duplicate this, you missed the initial recipe. Let me know if you want me to post the recipe. I'll be more than happy to oblige. We're just going to go a little bit at a time until we get it right where we want it. We'll start there. Mix this up. Being extra careful not to agitate too much air into it. Go till we don't hear that gritty sugar sound anymore. This might take a second, so I'll do this and come back to you guys. The reason I'm using brown sugar is it's the closest thing I could think to what would normally be cooked with apples. Like apple pie, candied apples. Well, maybe not necessarily candied apples, but definitely apple pies and stuff like that's going to have a lot of brown sugar in it. So, hoping to get closer to that with the apple flavor that brings out. Let's see what we got here. I added sugar a second time. The first time just wasn't quite enough. Probably a little on the sweet side for most folks, but I like it. You can taste, they say it's a footy note when it's young. It's there. Some age should hopefully fix this, which would be cool. That's another thing that fermentation will do, or not fermentation, pasteurization. It will speed age your brew a little bit. So I'm going to take another gravity reading just so I can see how much I changed the gravity here with the sugar I added. Definitely a pretty high acid touch to this between the pineapple and the malic acid in the apples. Hopefully I didn't get out too much. Check this. Yeah, right at 1.1, or not 1.1, 1.020. So yeah, it's definitely in the sweet category for sure. Some might say the top end of the semi-sweet, but we're gonna rack this into another vessel, and then we're gonna pasteurize it. So when I get done with that, 'cause you already saw me rack once, you don't have to see me do it again. We'll get to the pasteurization. Now, what I'm doing is called putting it into secondary, and that's going to be to let the flavors mellow, let all the sediment and yeast and everything drop out of suspension, and then when we bottle it, we'll bottle it, rack it off of everything to fill out, and we'll be left with just our beverage, which what we want, right? We don't want all that in the bottom of it. We want a nice, clean beverage. So once I get all this racked off and get my pasteurization set up, I'll be back with y'all in just a minute. Alright guys, sorry about that. So my setup is very simple, and unfortunately I got a lot of headspace, so I'm going to have to bottle when this is done. But another beautiful perk to pasteurization is it causes a lot of everything to just drop out instantly. So once that gets done pasteurizing, I'll probably do a quick short on bottling, and let y'all know that I've finished up and got everything put away. But once this is all done, it's going to go back into the fermentation area. It's not going to ferment anymore because I'm going to kill the yeast with heat. That way, when I bottle it, it doesn't carbonate, it doesn't ferment the sugars I just put in there, and we can have it the way it is, the way we like it. Let it age off that odd taste. I don't know how to describe it, but I've noticed it in all of my brews. But I've heard that it's extra strong in brews using apples and pineapples, and I use both. Go team, right? Anyway, thank you all for watching, tuning in, and when this is all done, y'all will know, 'cause y'all have another short tonight. Have a good night.